I'm not going to lie as we get into these law lectures. They're not too terribly entertaining. They are, however, very important as you get into the practice of pharmacy. We'll need to know these things, particularly in this lecture, the transfer of controlled substances, to make sure that there's no diversion that could be pointed to you, even if you are a completely innocent party. So let's jump into this, and this lecture is about the transfer of controlled substances. First of all, you can transfer controlled substances a number of ways. One is to another pharmacy, another is to a pharmacy supplier, and then thirdly I have to the manufacturer of the drug. And there's different ways of doing it for each of these bullet points. The records of the transfer need to be kept for 2 years and then need to be available for those 2 years in case a DEA inspector drops by your pharmacy. Always, you see someone show up in a suit and tie, it could very well just be a patient, a businessman or woman coming from work. But always whenever you see them, you think, uh-oh, is today the day that the state board drops in or the DEA drops in? And at some point, you're going to be correct, and it is going to be one of them, because they do occasionally drop in to make sure your records are intact. So the transfer of controlled substances, the receiver, now remember I said the receiver, we're transferring from one pharmacy to another, or from one pharmacy to the manufacturer or to the distributor. The receiver must issue a 222 form, so DEA form 222, and that is for Schedule II substances. And you can learn that to learn which medications are Schedule II medications. It's the one that have the most abuse potential. The Schedule III through V substances, this I just need documentation in writing showing the drug name, the dosage form, the strength, the quantity, and the date transferred. So lots of different record keeping requirements I have here on this slide. So I don't want you to just glom over it because it's a lot of words on each of these slides. Note that on Schedule II substances, the receiver is the one who must issue the order form, Form 222. Schedule 3 through 5, I need that documentation in writing showing all those things, drug name, form, strength, quantity, and date transferred. Let's talk about transfer of controlled substances to another pharmacy. So imagine you have a pharmacy, Udemy Pharmacy, and whenever you sell your medications, you're out of business. You've been so successful that you want to sell your pharmacy to another place. Let's just say it's Walgreens or CVS, whatever the case may be. It's going to be bought out, and you're going to have to give your controlled substances to them. So controlled substances may be transferred to that new pharmacy. We need a complete inventory, and that's going to be of all your controlled substances, and it must be taken documenting, again, the same things from the last slide, drug name, dosage form, strength, quantity, and date transferred. Your DEA Form 222 you'll need for the Schedule II medications. So surely you've started to see that pattern of 222, that DEA Form 222 is for Schedule II medications. So again, lots of words on this slide, but note that this is what we need to transfer controlled substances to another pharmacy. You're bought out, you must have this controlled inventory taken, and that's going to document that name, dosage form, strength, quantity, and date transferred. This again must be kept for 2 years. And then also transfer controlled substances to a pharmacy supplier. Just recently I had an unfortunate thing happen in my pharmacy where I'd ordered a very expensive medication, but the patient had passed away. It was a cancer medication for pain. It was an opiate, and it turned out we had to send it back to the supplier because I no longer needed the medication. This patient was, once they had passed away, I had no need to carry this expensive medication. So I needed to transfer that controlled substance back to the supplier it came from. For that, I had to have a written record showing the date that the transaction happened, the name, strength, dosage form, and quantity of the controlled substance. You should start seeing a pattern here as we go from slide to slide. The supplier or manufacturer's name, address, and registration number. So again, the supplier is the people that I'm getting it from. There's 3 main suppliers in pharmacy. You'll hear mainly of Cardinal, you'll hear of McKesson, and you'll hear of AmerisourceBergen. Many of your big chains use one of those 3 as their primary or secondary supplier. So just to make that clear, the manufacturer, the one that makes the drug, then sells it to the distributor. Again, one of the 3, Cardinal, McKesson, or AmerisourceBergen, which then will sell it to you, the pharmacy. So here you're giving it back to the distributor, okay? And again, DEA Form 222 will act as the official record for the transfer of Schedule II medications. So this is a really quick lecture, and I know it's a lot of words on each slide. I know it's not the most entertaining bit of information on here, but it is very useful to know. Whenever I'm transferring controlled substances, I need an inventory with specific requirements. And if you need to look back at those specific requirements, check back at the slides. Also, when I'm transferring any time that I'm transferring Schedule II medications, I'm going to need DEA Form 222. I'm going to need to keep that for 2 years on hand in case a DEA inspector comes in with his suit and tie on. So with that, understand everything in this lecture. It's very important so you'll be able to follow the law. Whenever that inspector comes, you want to make sure your pharmacy is ready.